Dan Roberts has been watching what's going on with college football because, earlier this week we talked about the Ivy League. They're done with sports in the fall, but more jumping in what way, Dan?
Yeah, that's right, Adam. And the Ivy League news itself didn't necessarily mean that the Power Five conferences, as they're called, and that includes the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC, ACC, that they would follow suit because they can just look at the Ivies and say, well, we don't care what they do. Remember that for the Ivies, football isn't nearly as important. For these big schools, Alabama, Clemson, Auburn, USC, football is a huge moneymaker. And in many cases, it pays for all the other sports. But now we're seeing a couple of the conferences, the Big Ten, and then according to The Athletic, the ACC, although the ACC hasn't announced it, say or change internally their plan to being conference-only schedule. Now, that means they'll only play in-conference games, and it's an effort to cut down on travel, only play schools that are closer to you geographically, maybe cut down on the spread of COVID-19. Now, interestingly, in the Big 12, the commissioner of the Big 12 yesterday said, we're not going to do that. But boy, you just wait and see. I mean, that's going to get changed because once two of the conferences go of the Power Five, they're all going to have to do this. Now, the question is, will that be enough? Or can they delay the start time? I mean, you're going to see these conferences try and pull out every possible stop before doing the inevitable ending of, okay, we're not going to have college football in the fall. I mean, they're dragging their heels because the money is just too big. They have to have football.
Yeah, to that point, Dan, I'm curious because, we've talked about this before. With college football, you've got so much regional crossover, right? I mean, even if these conferences decide to play just in conference, there are going to be some states like in Arizona, even in California, that just aren't going to be comfortable playing a month from now, when we're expecting kickoff. So how much revenue can they really still rake in? Like if this really is a business decision, what are they actually getting out of this?
Well, look, I mean, whether they're comfortable in a month or 2 months, I mean, if the virus spreads too much among the players, I don't see how they can play. Certainly, fans at the arenas is off the table, right? And so then you get into gate receipts, ticket sales. I mean, let's just use as an example a school like LSU. Okay, LSU is the current reigning champion. They won the college football championship, this past January in New Orleans. I was there in town for the game. At that school, football is one of only 3 profitable sports, along with men's basketball and baseball. And football alone provides more than 60% of all the athletic revenue. So, you're talking about not having any of the other sports if you can't have football. It funds those. And then in many cases, football funds additional activities beyond just sports. I mean, there's also the local economic impact in a place like Tuscaloosa, Alabama. There's an estimated more than $1 billion economic impact from having home football games because you've got local businesses that set up shop, people who come in not just from the city, but from other states and drive in for the games. So, man, I mean, if they have games with empty arenas, at least you get some TV revenue from that. But the bulk of the money comes from gate receipts and from concessions, what's called game day revenue, money you make from having fans come to the games. So, I would think you'd first see some of these conferences delayed till, say, October 1 before they completely scrap it. But it does feel like already going to in-conference games only is just a kind of yield sign on the road to no college football in the fall. I hope not, though. I hope it works out.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.